Hello, welcome to WorldLingua. My name is Teacher Eduardo, and today we have the special introductory video for the new section called The Learning Teacher. Okay, and I'm just going to get into it right now. What I'm going to talk about today is the pre-steps you want to do before you start to learn. Okay, so not the learning yet. I'm still not learning French. All I'm doing is getting an idea of language. Okay, so we have two major points right here. The pre-stage first. Okay, the pre-stage is basically just becoming exposed to the language in a natural way. Now you're like, well, how am I going to do that? Okay, well, thanks to technology, we have exposure to videos, audios online. So that's an excellent resource to be exposed to the language. You want to look for audios especially so that you're listening to the sound of the language, the rhythm, the intonation, how the voice goes up, how it goes down, how it stays in the middle. You want to listen for this. You're not going to understand anything, okay? You're not going to understand anything, but that's okay. You're just listening for how the melody of the language goes. Okay, this is your objective really right now. So this will help you feel more comfortable when you're in a classroom and you have to speak a language for practice. It's not going to be so strange. Okay, so this is really important. You want to play with the words also. When you're listening right now, okay, before you start to learn, you want to try and say a few words. You're probably not going to say them right. They're going to be wrong. Sometimes they're going to be right, but that's not the important thing. It's like you're eating the language. You're chewing the words, so you want to say them right. And this is going to help you for your confidence and your self-esteem as well. And that's really the first part. Becoming exposed to the language. Now the next part. Okay, 7 parts. First, we normally consider that we need to study. And yes, there are some things in the language you actually need to open the book, do your studying, learn the rules and all those kind of things. But other things you're not going to study. Okay? And in later videos we're going to get into this. Okay? But it's right there for now. Next part, vocabulary. So as a beginner, especially for me in French, right now I need to learn a lot of vocabulary. So this is my main goal right now. Learn vocabulary. It's going to help me for the pronunciation and for comprehension later on. Okay, the grammar. This is something you're going to have to study, but don't go crazy for the grammar. Okay, remember that first there was language, and then there was grammar. Okay, so grammar is important, but it's not everything. Okay, you want to learn to speak it first and understand it and have a conversation. Okay, comprehension is another important point that you want to consider, that you want to think about, mentalize before you go to class, before you start to learn. So you want to understand things, but very important, you also have to consider that sometimes you're not going to understand. Let me say that again. Sometimes you're not going to understand. And that's okay, right? Don't worry about it. As time goes and you have more and more practice, your comprehension is going to expand. And you're going to understand more. And the things you don't understand are going to be smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay? Speaking and pronunciation is something else that you want to consider right now before you start to go to class. More importantly, because sometimes we're shy and we don't want to speak, so you want to think about yourself speaking and pronunciating the words and practicing, right? This is why you were looking for videos and audios of the language, in my case French, because I want to listen to it and then I want to play with the sounds a little bit. Okay, this is the very important part. And so all of this kind of goes into the package of projecting yourself. I am mentally projecting myself, speaking the language. I see myself speaking with other French people and I understand them, they understand me, and I'm being successful. And just with that idea is going to give me the power to learn. If I say, oh no, this is very difficult, I'm never going to learn this, you know, these phrases, they really hurt your language. So you want to think about yourself that, yeah, sometimes you're not going to understand, but that's okay. Sometimes it's going to be difficult, and that's okay. But as long as you have it clear that you're speaking the language, that you're understanding other people and they understand you, then in the end, you are going to learn. Okay? You want to think of this as a long-term project. It's not going to happen in 1 week or 2 weeks. It's going to happen a little longer. Okay? Finally, your self-esteem. Yes, your self-esteem also has a very important part here, because if I feel good about myself, then I'm going to learn. Then if I feel that I'm not doing well, that this is difficult again, right? Then it's gonna stop my learning, or it's gonna make it very slow and very difficult, right? So if your self-esteem is like around there, then you're gonna have problems, right? If your self-esteem goes down for other reasons, again, it's gonna make your learning very difficult. So you want to keep your self-esteem as high as possible. Okay? You want to consider those things. So once again, so I was talking here about your mental projection, that you study and you don't study, okay? Your vocabulary, your grammar, your comprehension, and your non-comprehension, okay? Speaking and pronunciation, your self-esteem, right? And all of this is in the package of projecting yourself, speaking the language. Okay, so you want to start with vocabulary. That is talking about things that you do normally. Okay, specifically right now, as a learner, as a beginner, things around you, right? Like I said, vocabulary from your work, from school, from your house. So this way, you're constantly exposed to these things in your natural environment, right? And this is going to help for repetition. You will mentally identify them, you say the words, and this is going to help you learn very fast. Okay. And this is basically what we do before we start to learn. This is what you do before you start to go to class, or before you do anything with the language. It's just in a very natural, no stress, no problems. I'm not learning anything. I'm just kind of getting the idea of it. And these are the steps you want to follow, okay? And this basically works with any language. Okay, so this is a special introductory video, and some of the things I already have done them in the past weekend. And what I'm going to be doing now is learning vocabulary, basic vocabulary, and you want to check our page in World Lingua, right? In the next few days, we're going to have some text, some strategies that I'm going to be using. So, and I'll be putting up a slideshow there. And on the following weekend, on Sunday night at 10 p.m., I'll be uploading the next video. And this video will be a summary of everything that I did in this coming week. Okay, so thank you again for visiting World Lingua, and hope to have you here for a long time. Okay. Have a good one. See you around. Bye.
Ok. Alfonso, qu'est-ce que tu préfères manger?
J'aime la cuisine chinoise.
Chinoise, féminin?
Oui, chinoise.
Ok.
Et en général, toute la nourriture.
Toute la nourriture. Et Carla?
J'aime la cuisine brésilienne, beaucoup.
Ok, c'est quoi le plat typique du Brésil?
Haricots noirs.
Haricots noirs.
Ah oui, oui.
Oui.
Ok.
Avec le porc.
Avec du porc. Okay.
Du porc.
Et du poulet aussi, peut-être?
Non, du riz.
Avec du riz.